Now, I know that I am way beyond video 2020, but as I am also available for requested material, I will sometimes return to some of these numbers for a special occasion. So, we have here some meanings, and the meme will perhaps add meanings, but reserve potential, empathy towards change, responsibility to understanding, maturity of emotions and feelings, liberated by experience, movement of the external by the internal, trust in character, conflict made sacred, using gifts as you desire, and sometimes you should desire that if somebody's being charitable, you should use things towards needs, or that sort of category if the needs are fulfilled, and perhaps use your own money to get something you want. Relationships built on something real live within a distinct and purposeful vision. Division can make us as nothing, but it is as a unity in its source. The judging on, let's think of this as Gnostics or something, because the different 365 aeons or something like that, and the nameless aeon is God and that sort of thing. So God being the ultimate judge, or the time of judgment. And so the scripture of this age, of course, Surah 20, Ayat 20, it would make sense to go over here and they cast it down, and lo, it was a snake writhing. And okay, so Moses learned his signs, and that was kind of difficult for him because he didn't expect that, but one doesn't worry. Even the things that we associate with danger and evil, some of them aren't. Some of them are powers that God wields also, and that's something we can say is an implicit message of this. A sage controls the oracle. We're choosing which symbolism to identify with. We're choosing how to work it, how to expand upon it. We're not letting ourselves get ruled by the oracle. So I'm giving you some examples. The 2020th verse of Al-Quran is 1759. وَمَا نُرْسِلَ بِآيَاتٍ إِلَّا أَنْ كَذَّبَ بِهَا الْأَوَّلُونَ وَآتَيْنَا ثَمُودَ النَّاقَةَ مُبْصِرَةً فَظَلَمُوا بِهَا وَمَا نُرْسِلُ بِآيَاتٍ إِلَّا تَخْوِيفًا. And people say, why aren't certain signs coming like of old? And God's saying, well, they were denied before. And it's worse when the signs come, of course, and they're not accepted as such. So, but Thamud's people were given the she-camel as a clear sign, and they did wrong. And the only reason for these spiritual signs is that there would be a warning. So in the Bible, we have two words that come through as equaling 2020. Christoi, which is a variation of Christ, and that's first found in Romans 3:24. Simorphus conformed. Romans 8:29. Now, why would a God have to conform to anything? Perhaps it set rules upon itself as justice, but limited forms such as parent, child, male, female, what humanity wants of it. Let's not think that divinity's, but there's bound to be something positive, negative, perhaps a bad belief, to judge you, to point out that, hey, when you're looking for symbolic meaning, don't just change your belief. If you believe in the number more than than principles, whatever, but I can't stop you there. But we're showing that there's a variety of things. So no number's good, no symbol's evil, various things. Death of negativity, saith the Lord. A lot of people say saith the Lord, but which Lord and what type? Communication with spirits. Divine Mercy Sunday. Why not the Sabbath instead? 12 disciples. It was a rather common feature, the 12 disciples. After Moses, other prophets were said to get the information about the 70 and the 12 and thought to themselves that this is a good format to have. So Moses gets some of the credit of that. Whether or not the format was revealed to him, that he gets credit for that. Stonewall Jackson. No third ear has a right to condemn a normal human. Well, the third eye and the various chakras and sensual and psychiatric chemical, sensually and psychiatrically influencing chemicals. Honestly, everybody operates them to some degree, and if you're better at it, why doesn't that give you the right that your perception and your feeling would make you better at? Liberated by experience, I already said that. The blue is general meanings of, that for the number. Princeton University. Adam had a child with one of Cain's seed, creating Aris. Aris is a number for Mars. So people are going to run a lot of baseless things. And your gas is very bad. I mean, there were other things I could have put, but that's got to be there, right? Anything that can be used as a joke has got to make it in there somewhere. The beast that arises out of the bottomless pit. Well, if the devils could be sent to hell without being judged, well, what? The non-human devils, they have respite. Pow pow. Chaos. Take me to the mountain, for my God is in the time machine. Again, limiting a God in those sorts of respect and a prayer to chaos. But, some people are going to identify with that. So I'm showing the options of how people can be led and misled through these sort of things. Seize the otherworldly. Adama root. David Jesus. R.L. America is Jewish. I don't know if it is. Rolled by one of the significant. Now, there's a difference between a handful of Jewish families and saying that something is Jewish. And these people are ruling secularly. They will have war. Some of these Jewish families have actually taken part in wars against the Jews in past centuries, and decades even. Devil worshipper, Judge Judy, sweet wife, and let us walk in the light of the Lord. Heaven's wedding feast. It must be cool being friends with him. Execute Operation Justice. Time to start deprogramming myself, I guess. He feels a sense of power and entitlement. Religion worship, JC. Fanaticism is when you worship the leader and you think the temple's it, rather than, like, for example, in Islam, everywhere is a house of worship. Yeah, the bathroom and the graveyard and the road and stuff, you kind of step outside there if there, I mean, if there's an option at the very least. Um, there are places that are considered better, but it's not like, oh, I can't worship if I can't make it to the temple. There are people like that. Gold chain with a shiny cross. Now that makes me think of how so many people, they oppose any sort of morality, either by the spirit of, oh well, let's do things for Jesus, or by the what's written in the Bible in any sense. They oppose that sort of morality, except when Christmas comes up, or they want to make sure that everybody knows they're Christian. And most of the 52% of my country, it may be lower now, but that's what it was when I looked. That's thought to be Christian. Most people, it's like Merry Christmas. You find out they're Christian among the Merry Christmas. You can't talk Christianity any sort to them. He will come on a red jet plane. Hybrid rulers, slave planet. Jesus arose on the third day, which should be considered the greatest miracle that the Bible attributes to him, is that he was dead for 3 days, dying on a Friday night, and was alive a Sunday morning. So therefore he rose on the third day. It says he'll be dead for 3 days, and that's not even 2. So it literally says he's going to be dead for 3 days, and then again, the way that people speak, you can play word games with it, and it's just, as soon as you're not Christian, you've really noticed this stuff. Jesus is the front man, Satan's false light. Well, if Jesus is an egregor, certainly would be something that Satan would like to use to mislead people to worship other than God and various other things, if one personally believes that. To not all, your Lord, I believe. Now, yeah, we're always a disbeliever to something, and that's perfectly fine. And so 1 Kings 16:32, Job 13:18, Psalms 83:3, Psalms 135:20. So Job, the nearest one we have is Job 18:15. I'm talking about the Armia value. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. And Job 13:18, which I should turn very slowly. These, at least they're firm pages. 13:18. Behold, now I have ordered my cause, and I know that I shall be justified. And okay, the order is sometimes different in the Christian version, but Psalms 135:20. My stomach's getting rumbly, but sounds like stuff's going on out there. Psalm 135:20. Bless the Lord, O house of Levi. Ye that fear the Lord, bless the Lord. Now, Lord here is an intentional mistranslation. The actual term we are looking at, Yahweh, renders as increasing existence. God is a noun and verb. And so Psalm 88:3. For my soul is full of trouble, and my life draweth nigh unto the grave. Now see, if you look at the words, you can pick apart the words and expound on your symbolism that way. You can look at the context. You can look at further meaning other than your King James Version. And Kings, Chronicles. So we're looking at 1 Kings 16:32. Okay, is the numbering different? Okay, because 1532 is in the second year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, begat Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, to reign. And remember, in Aramea and Hebrew too, there is no J sound. And some of these become a T, but 32 of 17, until I come to take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive and of honey, that you may live and not die, and hearken unto the Hezekiah when he persuaded you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. Oh, I'm looking at 2 Kings. That's why. But we had some additional biblical stuff to here, so we can think of 1632. Okay, there is a 32. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. Now, Baal, as an idea of a son of God, is sort of the role that Christians put Jesus in. So it's very appropriate if on the 8th day, circumcised according to Jewish tradition, is the reason why the celebration of New Year's is, that I'm talking about the same type of mythology that they grafted Jesus onto. Now, there are various opinions about Baal and other things. People will try to debunk some of the things that have came up and say, I found a variation that does not match in this detail. Well, there's a whole series of variations, even in the biblical text.